Here we are in Tombstone, Arizona. Right here we're on the corner. Wyatt Earp's house, supposedly. Did a little research before I came out here. Mixed reviews on whether or not this was really Wyatt Earp's house. Hitching post, horses. Small little house. It's privately owned, so you can't really go in and do tours or anything. Cactuses. Pardon, cacti. And here's a statue of Wyatt Earp next to his supposed house. Supposedly it's documented that Wyatt Earp's house was catty corner to Virgil, his older brother, who was a sheriff of Tombstone. So Wyatt's on the corner. Alright folks, right here on this corner once stood Virgil Earp's house, the marshal of the city of Tombstone. In 1998, some teenagers burnt it down and they rebuilt, made a B&B, which is where we stayed last night. And there's just mixed information online about Wyatt Earp's house. It's documented it was catty corner. So this house right here, some say is Wyatt Earp's house. And there's a statue of Wyatt Earp right there. But some say it is not. His house wasn't even on that lot. Tombstone City Hall. And back here, little building. Marshall. Let's keep going. Tombstone's Courthouse. 1882. It was opened. And around back, it's actually a museum. You gotta pay, and there's a bunch of information, artifacts, and Tombstone. But right back here, you can see right there the ropes and the hangings. This is a statue of Edward Schieffelin. He's the one that discovered Tombstone out mining, traveling with some military men, safety in numbers. He says, "Oh, I'm gonna go look and explore out here." I said, "Man, the only thing you're gonna find out there is your tombstone." Struck some silver, started a silver mining town, and named it Tombstone. We've made it, folks. Tombstone, Arizona. Right behind me is Allen Street, the heart of Tombstone. Tomorrow is Vigilante Days, where they just do gunfights in the street. Fortunately, we won't be here tomorrow. But let's take a walk down Allen Street. And notice it's dirt, because that's how it was back in the day. 1880s. Birdcage Theater, the one and only, all original. Take the tour. It was amazing. Everything in there is original. All these other buildings have just been restored. It did burn down a couple times. the way they traveled back in the day. Alright folks, this is the Birdcage Theater. 100% authentic. A lot of these other buildings and places were restored, but the Birdcage Theater is 100% authentic from when it opened its doors in 1881 to today. You can go inside and do a tour. Here's the lobby. All original artifacts to the building. In fact, over 140 bullet holes. And here's one right there. Original ceiling. Original floor.
Buy tickets?
Right here, ma'am.
Now or after?
Now.
Okay. I was like, I don't want to miss it.
Alright folks, we're out of the lobby and into these are 100% authentic artifacts. This place is exactly how it was in 1881 when it opened its doors. Everything is original, and I think this is the coolest thing up here. These bird cages where people sat in. Ladies of the night would come and entertain them. The play would take place on this stage right here. More bird cages up here, hence the name, the Birdcage Saloon. And the door we came in. And all these artifacts, the history of Tombstone and the characters that lived and worked here. And this is a self-guided tour. Just take your time. I just can't get over these bird cages up here. Look at this. And the stage. It's a piano. The original piano has sat in this spot since 1881. And apparently there's over 140 authentic bullet holes. Floor, ceiling, walls, what have you. Curly Bill. Was recognized while getting a haircut in this chair. He was later tracked down and killed by Wyatt Earp.
10 cents is what $3 would feel like today. No, it's all original. Yes, that's it. Yes, see him?
Look at all the holes in the ceiling. Bullet holes, bullet holes, bullet holes.
Yeah,
When folks got excited or wanted attention, they aimed their gun at the ceiling.
So there's, yeah, that's the only thing that is.
Alright, let's go up the stairs. So we're gonna.
You don't want to Wyatt Earp replica.
This box was occupied by Russian Bill every night for 2 years at $25 per night. Bill was not an outlaw, but he just wanted to appear tough. So he stole a horse for which he was hanged, and he was really a Russian nobleman and was pitied by most of the citizens. Wow. Let's turn around. Look at that. I just love these bird cages over here. Alright, let's check out this room. Now let me just say, all of this, 100% of this is all authentic. The only place in Tombstone which has not been restored. All the artifacts, everything in here is original. And this right here is one of 8 hearses worth over $1 million. And it actually carried the 3 bodies that died in the OK Corral shootout. Carried their bodies to the Boot Hill Cemetery. A viewing casket which was used for funeral services. Those who could not afford to buy a casket. After the service, the body was removed and placed into a plain pine box. Oh, a little baby one. I bet even this curtain's original. Wyatt Earp walked on these floors. And we're going to go downstairs where the longest running gambling game in history took place. You had to have $1,000 to play, which is $30,000 in today's money. Lasted 8 years, 5 months, and 3 days. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I love these walls.
Look at the money on the table.
Yeah. Right here. All original. Look at, you can see the dust on the chairs and everything. Granted, that wasn't what the money looked like back then, but even this bar is original. I just think it's cool, the layers of dust. Look at that. Dirt floor. The gaming table and chairs are the original from the 1880s. Notice the dealer's box and money box is still where they were during the longest poker game. The house gaming steward would receive a $1,000 deposit from the prospective gambler and place his name on the waiting list of players. When the seat was open, someone would be sent for the player. The waiting time could be 3 to 4 days to get into the game. A player could stay in the game for as long as he wanted and had the money. Many noticeable persons sat at the big game table.
Of some sort. So this is
Look at back there.
3 rooms.
There's
right,
even
and
poker
more
chips.
And they have little cutouts in here to show you. Right?
The gaming rules were official rules of the house and were kept posted at all times. Copies of the gaming rules are available in the gift shop. Both mirrors you see have hung in the same place since 1881. The heating stove and the whiskey keg are both originals that have been in the same place since the birdcage closed. The original service bar, a liquor steward ran this bar to supply refreshments to the players and the ladies and their customers. The old whiskey and wine bottles and the broken glasses are all original from the room during the 1880s. All original bottles. Nice.
Maddie later committed suicide in Jessica by taking an overdose of laudanum. They didn't say that.
Restroom and bath for the gamblers. Bordello rooms. Soon to quiet. 1881 with Josephine. And it says this was Wyatt Earp's second wife, where she worked at the Birdcage Theater, which is where we're in right now. It was a gift to the sheriff, her live-in lover, until she met Wyatt Earp. The photo was concealed until after his death in 1912. And this room right next to the bordello room was used by Sarah Josephine in 1881. She worked under the name Sadie Joe and Shady Sadie. Note her license of ill fame. It was in this room where many romantic liaisons with her future husband, Wyatt Earp, were carried on.
Old Silver Bull. Over on the right-hand side where our leaves is, that used to be known as Hadford's Corner. That's the corner right there that Doc Holliday met up with those Earps right before the gunfight at the OK Corral. They walked down 4th Street there to Fremont and took a left. We'll get back into that history here in just a little bit. Now over on the right-hand side where this old-time photo studio is, back in 1880s that was known as the Can Cafe. That was home to the finest Chinese cuisine in the Southwest. That was owned and operated by a gentleman by the name of Kwong Ki. He was a very well-known, respected businessman here in town by everybody. When he died in the late 1800s, he had one of the largest funerals in Tombstone's history. And they buried him out there in Boot Hill, right next to his friend China Mary. Now, over on the right-hand side, we got the OK Corral. Now, despite everything that you've heard and seen on TV and in the movies, that gunfight did not take place at the OK Corral. It actually took place in a small alleyway right next to the corral, no more than 30 by 15 foot wide. It was a cold day, October 26, 1881, 2:30 in the afternoon. 30 gunshots rang out in 30 seconds, witnesses said. At the end of that 30 seconds, Tom and Frank McClary lay dead or dying on Fremont Street. Billy Clanton was shot dead in the alleyway. Morgan Earp was shot in the shoulders, and Virgil Earp had been shot in the right leg. And Doc Holliday, well, Doc, he just got grazed in the hip. Now, the only man left standing without a bullet hole in him, well, that was Wyatt Earp himself. Now,
right behind me, original site, Campbell and Hatches. Morgan Earp murdered while playing pool, shot in the back. Right here on this busy corner. Popular gunfight spot. This right here is the Crystal Palace, and I believe Virgil Earp's office was on the second floor. So this is the back of the OK Corral where we came out of. And they have just saddles and wagons and stuff you can look at. But this is the way that leads to the actual gunfight site. And there's some information on what happened. I don't know, there's just many different stories. Corner from what I understand. Here's an old outhouse. Granted, it's locked, we can't go in. But this little, I guess they call it a prostitute's crib. I'm guessing this is just a recreation. And let's take a look at what it looks like. Just very standard and practical. Bed and a window. Here's a picture of Big Nose Kate. She was with Doc Holliday on and off for 4 years. She also has that restaurant / saloon. And she was actually born in Hungary. Here's a picture of Wyatt Earp's second wife, Maddie. She was a soiled dove, a prostitute. And here's what people don't really talk about. His very first wife, he married young. She was pregnant with this child, and she ended up getting sick and dying very young. Devastated him, which in my mind, he was just got reckless. And then up here is Josephine. He left Maddie, this woman, the soiled dove prostitute, for Josephine, which she stayed with him till the day he died, and they're both buried in California. So,
by his kid brother Billy, they hope to confront Doc Holliday, who lives nearby Fly's boarding house. Wyatt Earp and his brothers Virgil and Morgan Earp have just arrived, joined by Wyatt's good friend Doc Holliday. Virgil Earp, Tombstone's chief of police, orders the cowboys to put up their hands. In the next few seconds, nearly 30 shots will be fired. Both McLaury brothers and 19-year-old Billy Clinton will be killed. Virgil and Morgan Earp will fall, badly wounded. On the morning of October 26, 1881, heavily armed cowboy Ike Clinton wandered the streets of Tombstone, threatening to kill the Earps or Doc on sight. Virgil Earp arrested Ike for illegally carrying a gun in town, buffaloed him, and dragged him to court. Wyatt Earp then caught Tom McLaury outside the courtroom and buffaloed him as well. The cowboys, now fighting mad, gathered.
You cowboys been looking for a fight? Now you're gonna get one. Put up your hands, boys. We're here for the guns. Unarmed. Wait! I don't want that. Day. You got the guts to play for blood! I see you moving, Billy! Hand up that gun! Boys, I got Sheriff B-Hound!
And that was it. Frank McLaury, dead. His brother Tom McLaury, dead. 19-year-old Billy Clanton, dead. Just 2 months after this gunfight, Virgil Earp was ambushed outside the Crystal Palace Saloon. A few shotguns went off, but he still refused to die. Crippled up pretty badly, he began wandering west, until death caught up to him in Nevada in 1905. Not as lucky as Wyatt's younger brother, Morgan Earp. He was shot in the back and killed, playing a game of pool up on Allen Street. It was midnight, March 19th, 1882, Wyatt Earp's birthday. In the year 1887, this whole town began to fall apart, and the 2 main causes of this gunfight died hundreds of miles apart from each other. Trying to start up a new gang up in northern Arizona, Mike Clanton was shot by a mail-order detective.
What?
Not too long after that, a lifetime of drinking, smoking, and, well, bad decisions. Tuberculosis caught up to yours truly up in Colorado. I, don't care to talk about it. Wyatt Earp was the last man standing after all this. He began traveling from Idaho to Alaska, finally ending up in Jazz Age Hollywood, searching for another tombstone, another chance to get things right again. But he never would find it. Death caught up to him in Los Angeles in 1929. It was just ahead of his 81st birthday. His final words, suppose. And that, folks, was our show. We hope you enjoyed it.
Here we are, folks, the famous Boot Hill Graveyard. This is where the pioneers, the folks of Tombstone, are buried that were residents from 1878 to 1884. There's about over 250 people buried here, and then after 1884 they moved to another graveyard. So all these burials are lined up in rows. They give you a little booklet that's detailed of how each person died. It's just, I'm right here on row 1. We'll start with him, Chaz Helm. Try and read this. He was shot in 1882. 2 hot-tempered ranchers who disagreed over the best way to drive cattle. The one next to him, or over here, Tom Waters. He was shot in 1880. He was the father of Eva Waters and likely the T.J. Waters who was shot over the color of his shirt. Van Houten, 1879. Murdered. He was beaten in the face with a stone until he died. Trouble was over his mining claim, which he had not recorded. This guy here was found dead with several bullet wounds in his body, sometimes called Indian Charlie. This poor little one, 3 months old, died of fever, scarlet fever. Pat died of pneumonia in 1882. And this unknown, there's several unknowns here. This one here, this one here, was just he was found at the bottom of a 60-foot shaft of the Minute Mine. He was well dressed, indicating he was not a miner, no identification of any kind. And then of course the 3 cowboys that died at the shootout at the OK Corral, and their father, who was shot and killed as well, are buried here. Here lies Rook, shot by a Chinaman. This guy was killed in a blast in 1880. Here's a super popular one, and you can actually buy this tombstone with this saying on it as like Halloween decorations in stores. Here lies Lester Moore, 4 slugs from a 44, no less, no more. So this one, John Heath, he he robbed a bank in Bisbee, a town 30 minutes from here, and there wasn't as much money in there as he thought, and in order to escape, he shot a pregnant woman. The people of Bisbee were outraged, so he was imprisoned here in Tombstone. They took him out of the jail and they hung him, and this is his grave right here. On a side note, the coroner, when he examined him, he said he died of high altitude asphyxiation and being hung. Here's an interesting one. George Johnson hanged by mistake in 1882. He was right, he was wrong, but we strung him up and now he's gone. Jim Riley, 1881, murdered. 3-fingered Jack Dunlop, shot by Jeff Milton. Alfred Contrell, shot in 1881. This is the grave of Red River Tom. He was shot by Ormsby. As you can see, all these graves, there's around 250 of them. A very, 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 very small percentage of them died of like illness or in the hospital, at home in bed or whatever. Hence the name Boot Hill Cemetery. These are like a lot of just tragic deaths. But this pamphlet I was showing you guys, it really goes into details, names and a little bit of who they were, how they perished.